Okay, so hopefully you've gone to Schoology, you've looked at your little four waffle bar, you clicked on that, and you went to the LAUSD Digital Library, and here you are. So I'm going to show you some of the things that are here. I'm just going to kind of give you a quick visual overview. There's a lot to teach students about how to search them, and there's basic searches and advanced searches. They all have citation tools, so they can grab a citation very easily, and if they've set up EasyBib, it's really easy to then import it and format it. They also have, many of them have translation tools so that they can read this in any language, and the translation tools, according to students, are pretty good. So I just want to go through and show you sort of what they look like visually. I can't even begin to show you how much is in here, but you will notice, like, let's see here, Cavendish Square. Let's see, let me go back to that. Cavendish Square, it shows you, so a lot of them arrange things by topic, and some of them arrange things by like smaller databases within their larger database. So Cavendish Square is laid out pretty nicely. They have, as many of them do, they have an open for debate section, some issues and controversies. They all have a different one that they have. And you can see, like, when you look at it, a lot of it is organized for, some kinds of pro and con, and it's not uniform. They're all a little bit different here, because some of the topics lend themselves to kind of clear, deterrence, no, deterrence, yes, kind of thing. But it's pretty nice. And again, you see you've got a citation tool, you've got a translation tool. They can save it, and so that's just there. Okay. Then ProQuest eLibrary, you can see these are things that are constantly being updated. So the stuff at the top is going to pertain to issues that students are going to be seeing in the news and are dealing with on a very, very current basis. Let's see, Infobase also has issues and controversies. It's a little different than Cavendish Square, and you can see show all 60 issues, show all 49 issues, show all 104 issues. So they have it broken down and grouped in a way that is helpful. And again, they have advanced search tools, and I can help you and help them to use them. It also has some curriculum tools for you. So to use with your students. So there's quite a lot here to explore. Tools for educators, you can see assessing student speeches, assigning student interviews, all kinds of things that are really, it's just a world of things in here. Let's see. I'm going to go to this one. Another one that's interesting is Culturegrams from ProQuest, and one of the things I like about this is for every country they have these, and they have these infographics. So when we're sort of teaching students to make infographics, it's a nice thing for them to have. And they can see that they're actually, citing, their sources here. So it gives them an idea of what a good infographic should look like. And of course, they can generate a citation to that, which is nice. So they've got those tools all the time that they can then bring into their paper. Okay, so then another thing is ProQuest homepage. Whoops, we're going to continue working on that. And you can see these are included databases, so they're not sort of just topics within that database, but they're each its own database. So you've got things for computer science, so if you just really wanted to be searching that rather than searching so broadly, that would be helpful as well. That's a ProQuest product. Another ProQuest product here is laid out again. This is a controversial issues one, so it's laid out visually more appealing to students. One of the things that I do like to remind kids is I call these acceptable sources, not credible sources. Acceptable means that they're considered appropriate for academic use. Nobody's going to say, oh, that's just some blog by somebody who's doesn't have any credibility. But I would say they're acceptable, but I wouldn't say that they're necessarily credible to me. Like, for example, I don't use Columbia Gazetteer all that often, and I was like, gee, I wonder why. So I thought, let me do my litmus test with the Congo, where you have this incredible, brutal imperialist history and plenty that you want to cover up. And it was interesting because it started with 2 books. I was looking at the history of it. It started with like 2 books by Woodrow Wilson and somebody else, and Woodrow Wilson was very, very unfortunately very, very racist. And so when I looked through this, it just completely downplayed any of the brutality. It really presented the imperialism and the mining and the rubber and all that stuff as kind of a form of economic development, and it put down Lumumba, who the leader that the CIA had executed, who was elected by the people and who was for, nationalizing resources rather than making them available, to corporations and cartels. So I'm like, okay, that's the kind of thing that in the end we want students to be able to do, to have their own kind of worldview and understanding of things and make a determination about whether they see a source as being, entirely credible or not. So I just call them acceptable. And then another one that I did the same thing with, I don't use American National Biography a lot. I'm like, okay, let me just search Tupac and see what we get for that. And Tupac did not make it into the American National Biography. So it just tells you a little bit about the inclusivity of it, and how many people are really here and how useful that's going to be to you. So that's basically the deal. You can see there's a lot more. There's 2 encyclopedias, so if you just want a straightforward encyclopedia, they're there. They have, easy, like, elementary school writing, middle school, high school level writing, so it's great if you've got students, who are English language learners, special education classrooms. They can access the elementary school materials, and, it's the same information, but it's just written at a much less complex level. Gale is also great. There's some great stuff here. So it takes a lot to get to be familiar with, and what I do is I look through and you tell me what you want your students to be able to do, and I give them some help with how to search these, how to navigate them, and direct them towards which of these would be the best thing for them, so they don't feel like they have to go through all of them just for a research paper. So please contact me with any questions, and feel free to explore them on your own.